When you care for a family member, there's always a next thing to do. No matter how many things you've already done, there's always next. And it feels like a requirement. You're required to do what's next. That's exhausting. What to do when you're weary from what's next. That's the focus of this week's Caregiving Comfort. Hey everyone, I'm Denise Brown and I write what I call Caregiving Comforts. I started writing these in 2003. I challenged myself to take one word, apply that word to a caregiving reality, and then think about how I could look at that word in a different way that perhaps could make me feel better. I found writing these caregiving comforts to be particularly helpful when I was caring for my parents. My parents have since died, and I continue to write these for you. This week's comfort is actually inspired by a comment someone left for me on LinkedIn. Now, I know you're thinking, don't read the comment section, but yes, I did. I read the comment section. ah, my post was about our 36-hour Christmas chat. It's a chat I host, obviously over Christmas. We open up the chat at noon on Christmas Eve and then keep it open for another 36 hours. And I've been doing this for probably about 12 years. I skipped a couple years in the middle when things were a little difficult for me, but it's been something consistently that I've offered. And I do it because I really did not enjoy Christmas when my parents were alive. And I had often thought I wish I could go somewhere else, but I couldn't. And when it's a chat room, you can go into a chat room without going out or feeling like you're leaving. And I think it's so helpful to connect with others who get it during a day or 2 days, or it feels like you're spending time with people who don't get it and also ask a lot of you. When I host this chat, I'm keeping in mind how many volunteers I have. And then I'm also promoting it so that it creates awareness of anyone who could benefit from joining our chat. And I also am aware that volunteers feel much better about volunteering if they actually connect with someone in the chat. So I'm always trying to think, how do I have enough volunteers and how do I have attendance? And it's tough math because oftentimes the mathing doesn't actually math out. So it's pressure for me. And I do it because every year I connect with someone that I think, oh, they send me a note saying how helpful it was to connect to others on a difficult day. And I think, oh my gosh, that's why we do it. Anyway, a week after Christmas, someone posted a comment on my post about the 36-hour Christmas chat. And she said, well, that was a week ago. What are you doing now? And I thought, oh, what? I spent probably about 20 hours in the chat room between Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And then a few days later, I held another chat. And then the next day after that, I provided a pro bono one on one coaching call. And then, it continues. You're always doing something that's really amazing. And then there's someone that comes up and says, huh, that was awesome. What's next? And really, they're thinking, what's next that you can do for me? Oh, my heavens. Oh, my heavens. Anyway, so that comment inspired this caregiving comfort. And here's what I wrote for you: a caregiving comfort next. No matter how much you do, you seem to always have more to do. It also seems everybody else wants you to do more for them. You help, and then they seem to be ready with another request. And that request sounds like, here's the next thing you can help me with. Here's the next thing you can organize for me. Here's the next thing you can resolve for me. Here's the next thing you can make. Here's the next thing you can change. What to do when there's always a next. It's okay to say, I'm next. You can be next. When you think about what could be next for you, consider, what do you need? You can take a moment for nourishment, for space, for quiet. Your quality of life is important too. You can consider, what do you want? You might want time for your own priorities. Focusing on what matters to you keeps you connected to what matters. You can consider, what could help you? You need help too because you manage such complex situations. Help could be AI, a Google search, a request, a task you delegate. You can consider, what could energize you? You can spend time with what brings life into your moments. With life in your moments, you give yourself a chance to keep your life during a life of caregiving. It's time for you to be next because you deserve to be first. I'd love to know, now that you're next, in essence, you're first, what will you do? I'd love for you to share in our comments section. And if this content resonated with you, I'd love for you to share a like. And if you know someone who could benefit from this message, I'd love for you to share it with them. Thanks for all you do. Thanks for being a part of our community. And I look forward to connecting with you next week. Thanks for listening. I'm Denise Brown.